So some time ago, maybe like a decade ago, I went through a tantric puja initiation in the Vedic tradition. And this was strictly just about the puja. And, I'm sure you're all somewhat familiar with puja, but it's a lot of times it's a little more aligned with bhakti yoga and the yoga of devotion. And, it's a very ornate ceremony and it's very beautiful. And there's always candles and some form of fire and coconuts and flowers and all sorts of beautiful, ornate details that create this very alchemical experience for one reason or another. And pujas can be done for so many different things. Pujas for, things in your astrology that you want to readjust, or a puja to bless a marriage or to bless a child, or, all sorts of things under the sun. And this puja that I was being initiated into was a practice around the new moon and the full moon. And after a certain period of time, the doorway of manifestation opens, and creating in tune with the universe becomes a little bit more accessible and easier. And so with this retreat, or this initiation, right, it was kind of like a week-long retreat, a week-long study. The first day of the experience, and we had like a laundry list of all these things that we needed to bring in. So we needed to get a coconut, we needed to get red thread, we needed to get certain spices, flowers, a gift, right? All sorts of these things that we were bringing in. And when we arrived, we kind of just put everything down in the center of the room. And then the Swami that was leading the initiation, he was like, okay, just, come into a tall seat. And now you're going to internally chant this mantra, which was just a seed mantra, like Hrim, Klim, Shrim, right? Basic like seed sound of creation. And you're going to chant it for 5 hours. And that's what we're going to do today. And it was like, oh, okay, this is what we're going to do. And, and so we sat there, we closed our eyes, and we just went through this whole process of chanting these mantras internally. And then at the time when we were done, the Swami called it, we said namaste, and we left. And then, we made our journey back the next day. And then we began to go deeper into the study and deeper into the practices. And this was such a powerful experience in general, but for me, what I observed was that it was the first level or entryway in to this initiation in a way that we were purifying our subtle body, and that we needed to purify aspects of the mind and the mental body. And because of what was sort of being given to us, and maybe even the responsibility of what was being given to us, when someone's handing you maybe keys to the universe to be able to create things, right? It comes with great responsibility, that we needed to adjust our minds and we needed to adjust the subtle body to be able to receive that, right? And so that's kind of one form, or a form of like mantric science and chanting. And so today we're going to work with this Gurmukhi mantra. And in this tradition, and we've talked about this before, there's quite a bit of focus on what's actually happening with your glands and your glandular system and this pituitary gland. And if we can kind of upkick or upstart the pituitary gland, it will impact the pineal gland, which really governs all of the glands of the system, which then allows us to operate at a much more, say, intelligent level. And with these different mantras, right, when you think about maybe bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, and sort of the love of chanting, and just the feeling of opening the body, right, the chakras illuminating and the mind becoming more harmonious. And there is this kind of connection to divinity, whether that's our own inner divinity or an externalized divinity that we feel naturally connected to. There's kind of that experience, right, of being in the mantra and allowing ourselves to just become purified to the point where we can align ourselves with that essence, which is love and devotion and benevolence and purity. And then there's this other side to it through the Kundalini tradition, which is constructing whatever it is that you want to construct through the sound current, right? So if I really want to communicate to something that I'm seeking, or maybe even a planetary element or something that this mantra is governing, I have the capacity to actually use the sound current to construct that around me, to build it and to create it. And I think actually both traditions have both components. You just kind of feel one a little bit more depending on which one you lean into. So as we come through this experience today, you have that opportunity, right? You can really use this to just clean and purify. And you can also use it to up level that pituitary. You can kind of think of it like a heartbeat. Like if the heartbeat is slow and we want to pick the heart rate up so that that heart rate can connect to things that are vibrating at a higher level, right? That the mind can connect to the things that are at a higher vibration, then it will just naturally lead us and naturally guide us to wherever it is that we're seeking, or wherever it is that we don't even know that we're seeking, which has kind of been the theme over these past couple of days. So go ahead and drop all of that. Let's bring the hands together at the heart center.